And welcome on in, Furioso Gaming. Glad to have you here. This will be episode 3 in the Kenshi series that I'm running right now. What I want to show you today is what I've done after achieving, after making all that money that we did in the previous episodes. I'll give you a quick rundown of what I've done immediately with those and where you should be setting up your base. Um, Now, the answer to that is definitely relative. You can make your base anywhere on the map. The game has the ability, or you have the ability in the game to build a base anywhere. It's just how difficult that is based on where you make your base. So, for a just starting out player of Kenshi, I think the best place to build a base is in the Holy Nation, in the Greenlands. Greenlands is alright. So there's three primary biomes for growing in this game. There's the Greenlands, which is basically like a fertile crescent kind of greenland area. Then there's Arid, which is the desert. That's really hard to grow anything but cacti, and then there's swamps, which I don't think you can grow green fruit there, but you can grow just about anything else, I believe. So the problem is in those various areas, there are dangers that make it extremely difficult to build a base and be producing because you're always having to fight something off. Like the swamp is overrun with spiders. I don't like to build there because of that unless I have a very substantial group of individuals to start the base with. And that's where I want to start this episode. You should not start a base in general until you at least have 4 people. That's my personal experience, and even more so than just having the 4 people, those 4 people really ought to be trained somehow. They really ought to be able to. So I'm just setting a timer for us today so that we stay on track. And there we have it. Those 4 people should really know how to fight. Now, if you're following along with this tutorial, you'll have done that because every time you bring a bandit group in, you get into the fight. So you've been banged up a little bit, you've swung your weapon around a little bit, you've decided who's going to do what, like katanas, sabers, clubs, whatever it is your group wants to do, or your particular characters want to do. You've already kind of moved towards that. So after I gained about 30,000 cats in doing the exact same process I've showed you so far, I filled everybody's backpack up with building materials, iron plates, and I went out and I built this shack. And inside of that shack, I put down 3 bedrolls, my first research bench, and then one of the first things I researched were storage, because you need storage. You need to start being able to put your things down. You can't just carry it all in your backpacks. That's important for a couple of reasons. If you're overloaded, you don't fight as good. And you want your characters out here in the wilderness to be fighting as well as they can. Now here's the other note I have to make that's very important to base building. Its location is so important due to every single area having its faction and the groups that roam it. Being in the Holy Nation and taking advantage of these greenlands means you have to follow the rules of the Holy Nation, and unfortunately those are very strict. Think about like the worst, most indoctrinated society, zealous, over-religious society you can imagine. And that's the Holy Nation. They don't accept outsiders in any form. And unfortunately in this game that's men, like human men. They don't like women. Women can be a part of their ranks, but they go through a lot tougher time than women anywhere else. And so that was my first obstacle, because one of the first people I hired to build my initial group of 4 was a Shek warrior. Good old Bongo here. Bongo is one of the members of my stream. He's almost always there, almost every night. So anybody who supports me like that gets put in my games, and they get to hang out with us. Trouble is, now Bongo's a problem, because I live in the Holy Nation. I have to hide Bongo from the pretty regular patrols of Holy Nation that come through my town. And if they see him, they'll ask for him. They'll want me to give him up. And I'd really rather not. Like, I like my Shek warrior, and I would like to keep him. So I'm hiding him. That means he's become. Yeah, here they are. Here's a regular group walking through. Even though he's one of my better warriors, and will be, for now I have to hide him. This isn't forever. You're doing this to build up your supply line, your structure. This is how you feed your people. Once you build up enough people, hire enough members, and everybody starts to become very good at what they do, there's nothing stopping you from destroying the Holy Nation, or at least anybody that comes your way. So it's all about survival in Kenshi. You do what it takes to survive, and then you have fun. That's Kenshi. Welcome to it. And so the first thing you're going to want to do is click on your research bench. Well, you don't got to click on it, but have somebody working on your research bench by pressing shift and right clicking on the object while selected on your character. So if I was selected on Bongo and I hold shift and I right click on that bench, that makes it his permanent job. And the way that you know that is down here in this right hand corner down here. I feel like my screen is all sorts of not right now. Oh, what's going on with that? Hold on one moment. Okay, it needed an alt enter. Sorry about that. Little video error there. Anyway, once you have your person working on your research, you can click this button that says TEC, Tech. You click on it and you choose what tech you want to work on. Typically your first things are going to be in core. The first things I did were, early on, were farming, storage. I did what it took to start, if there was anything, I did what it took to start mining stone, processing stone into building materials, because yes, you can make your own building materials, and that is one of the most important early things you can do in your base, because everything's going to take it. Everything you build takes building materials, and iron plates. So that's actually what I'm working on now. You can see right here that my current technology that Bongo's working on is iron plates. It's super unfortunate that he has to be stuck inside doing that for two reasons. He's a Shek, he's a great warrior, and also because he's a Shek, they suck at science. So I've got the worst scientist on, the best fighter on my team probably, and the worst at science being my scientist. And that's just something I had to do because I live in the Holy Nation. So to be able to take advantage of this Greenland, what's left of it in the world of Kenshi, I did what I had to do. I hide my Shek in a closet and I make him research for me. Poor guy. So anyway, then the next thing I did was I built a food storage. You want that because your people, no matter where they are, will go over to it and take what they need to eat. Everybody right now is hungry, and that actually is something I need to do for my people right now. Is I'm growing, but I am not cooking. So that is the very next thing that we need to do. Hello, Dallas. Dallas wanted to say hello to everyone. Hello, my boy. Okay, so I want to finish that last farm up. So you'll see right down here that it requires green fruit to build. Now the good news is I have a lot of green fruit. I need backpacks for my new people, but for now, I'm going to go to the farm that has finished its growing period, and I'm going to put a 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. I only need, well, I'll just leave it, and then I'll go build. Oh, did I just put it away? Yeah, okay, so that's the only problem with automatic inventorying, or whatever you want to call it, is left to their own devices, they will attempt to clear their backpacks and fill storage. And that's good in most situations until you're trying to build something. So, Furioso is going to finish off that build. I'll have my other boys help too. And as soon as he's done doing that, you have them on you. What you doing? Okay, so it doesn't always make sense, folks, but you got to get the materials in there for it to be done. Bard, I actually want him to build, yeah, to build that. Now Furioso. Now before I get too far into what we're doing here, because that'll happen to me, I want to push forward the progress at every minute. But before I get too far, I want to explain what I had to do after I made my money. You make sure your initial crew has backpacks, and you should have been doing that during the process of getting the bandits into the town. And then, but in order to get those people, to get those 4 initial people or more, you can have many more. The problem is feeding them. You'll have to keep buying meat to make sure those people are fed. And I'm still doing that because my town isn't producing yet. It will be soon, but not quite. I still want to build another house, and inside of that house, I'm going to build a stove so I can start cooking all this green fruit I've got. I can make cooked vegetables as long as I have water, and I do have a well, so I'll get water from the well and green fruit. So soon I will be able to make my own food, but even then I'll want to push that process forward. But minding in the beginning that however many people you have to feed those people. Go figure. And so once you have your 4 or 5, and if you're coming to the Holy Nation where I've settled, there's a lot of other places to settle. This is just where I'm doing it on this run through because it seems like the easiest to me. Make sure you're getting human males. So you know how I told you to go to Squin? You might not want to go to Squin. And if you do go to Squin, buy a map for the United Cities or the Holy Nation and run up there and do your shopping. And what you'll do is once you have enough money from the bandit runs and everything, you will buy the cheapest members you can buy from bars. You'll go into bars and you'll hire in several bars in the game. There is someone who wants to join you for free. Hobbs was the first one. You saw him. He was free. There's going to be another one named Ruka, I want to say, in Last Stand. That's a western town in the Shek Kingdom. She's been like a dishonored warrior, and she wants a chance to redeem herself through combat, so she joins you. I want to say there are others. There's a hive member named Beep, and I'm actually not sure how the Holy Nation feels about hivers. I'm sure they don't love them. They don't love anyone that's not human. But anyway, get yourself some humans if you're coming to the Holy Nation to build. And get to the Holy Nation after you've got, 4, 5, more if you feel like you can feed them. Because you can rush this process. If you come to where you're going to build your town with full backpacks of building materials, iron plates, you pre-buy your green fruit, or you have somebody going to buy green fruit, because you need green fruit to build those farms. and you can buy green fruit from Holy Nation farms or cities. And once you get all this started and you start your building materials right away and you start your farming processes right away, research cooking, and then you're cooking almost right away once everything else is built, then you can absolutely do this without making runs. Me, I like to make those runs for a couple reasons. I want to raise my character's athleticism. I like it for them to be fast for a lot of reasons. You want to be able to run away from a lot of stuff in this game. And I like to um, spot buy. I don't like excess until I'm making excess. Uh, because your money in the beginning is very flies out the window, man. Even though I had about 30,000 to start with going into this little venture, I've got 205 now because I'm no longer doing bandit raids. Um, so whatever I do start to make, it had better make me a profit. And if it doesn't, then what I will have to do is I'll have to hunt something around here and take its hides and sell them. The good news is there are a lot of river raptors around here, and the river raptor hides sell about 240 cats or so a piece, and you end up with like 7 or 8 of them. So you can make money in this area. It's just, to me, it's not as much or as common as it would have been earlier on in the Czech Kingdom doing the bandit runs. So let me show you what all this has looked like so far, just so you can see. This is a very quick and just kind of slapped down version of a town. Like I said, this is my first building. This is when you decide that you have a building. You can name it whatever you want. We're going to call this, Furioso's Angels. No. Furioso's Rest. Save the Angels for like squad name or something. That's all Warhammer 40k if you're wondering about the referencing, but Furioso's Rest, that'll work. That is the name of our town. And you'll also be able to see that on the minimap if you go to where you are. Furioso's Rest. There it is. I've built my town right here, just so you can see it on the map as well. We were here, like in the Squin region, and I ran between Admag and this area around here, getting bandits. I bought a recruit over there. You gotta be careful because you don't want those Czech up here. But then once I was done purchasing, getting backpacks, making money, I came north and I went to this fertile valley here, this whole green valley, and pretty much the first spot I ran into that wasn't next to something else, I built in. So we're right here in this little inlet, right off that river, as you can see, right there. Now, as far as safety goes, anytime you build a town, the world will take notice. So these Holy Nation people came. They're called Ocrinites or something like that. They came to say hello, make sure I was a follower and a believer. You have to hide your Shek when they do that, and you have to go along with it, pray with them or whatever. It sucks in the beginning, but it's not a big deal. You just go along with it, and you get the right to build in their lands. And then once you're powerful enough, you can build walls and like harpoons. Yeah, you just like lock your doors and man your harpoons. You can do anything you want. Especially when you have like 20 people running around in your town. But for now, we really need to focus on getting this food ready. And we're going to do that for the last like 7 or 8 minutes that we have together. Is Bongo still working? Bongo is still working, I believe. Yeah, he's still working. Okay. So, Hobbs is working the stone mine. Bard is on the building materials. Furioso. Does anybody? Yeah, he does. I need to build a storage for building materials. So we're going to go down here to build, to storage, and then a storage building materials. And we're going to build that just kind of flush with our processor. It's ugly. It is not as pretty as I would like it to be, but it is what it is. I'm going to go pick up this iron plate over here so that I can build that. Okay. I like to shut the door when the Acronites come walking through like this, just because I don't want them to spot them. And it was likely that this group may have. Now, as annoying as this might seem, in the beginning, while you are just starting out and you just have a few people, anything that was to attack my town, like bandits, they'll attack too. So they're protecting me. Sort of. They're also checking on me to make sure I'm not doing anything foolish. But double-edged sword right now. We'll take what we can get. So this is growing. It has water. Everything here has a really good growth rate because it's in 100% green. This was also 100% stone. I didn't see that coming. I thought in the middle of a dang field, good for growing, you would not find stone, but this was 100% stone mine. This well has 160 percent water available, which is like its richness, like how good the water is that comes out of the ground. So we're getting a ton of water out of there. The efficiency is through the roof. It'll only get better. Because everything upgrades pretty much. Almost every building in the game upgrades a few times. The well is one of those. Alright, so everything looks okay right now. Our people need to eat though, and we're not going to be able to do anything until we get some food in our lives. So I am running this man. I'm going to go to this farm and see if they have any food. Problem is it's nighttime. And there may not be, the trader may not be awake. So we will see. If he's not, we'll just go to a main city. What's going on there? It's kind of strange. I'm walking away from it. I don't want to know what a bunch of dudes are doing all bunched up like that in a room in the dark. Okay, it looks like the farm is just kind of inactive while it's nighttime. So I'm gonna make my way to Blister Hill. Get him over there. Furioso moves, man. He's got the speed boots on and everything. These little guys make you run faster. And he's been running since the start of the game, so his athletics is up there. And he's a light fighter anyway, so of course it's getting to be daytime, so that's fine. We're already half the way towards there anyway, so I'm gonna keep going. Game's gonna load a few times. And this is fine too, because oftentimes when you walk next to these big cities, there is a chance that the guards have killed something or gotten in a fight with someone somewhere, and you can loot them. Just like with the bandit routine. Just like with the bandit routine. Right now it doesn't look like we have anything, but it's okay. Oof. I forgot that I'm basically broke right now, so I really do need something to sell. Let's go see what he's selling some meat for. Okay, it's not too bad. I'll buy a couple, and then I'll just look for something to sell. There's always something to sell in this game, and you'll find it if you're looking for it. I also have a lot of stolen goods that I can sell for a lot of money, but you have to be careful of where you sell your stolen goods. There's a shinobi thieves guild that you can ally yourselves with that will fence, that'll allow you to fence stolen goods. The trouble with them is I think they cost 10,000. They cost 10,000 cats to become a member, but they have a presence in just about every major city. So it's a valuable guild to get in with. And if you're any good at thievery, like stealing, that has changed in this game, and I'm not very good at it anymore. I can make it work for me, which you saw. I stole a bunch of swords, but I feel very strongly I got lucky. And I might do a thieving tutorial eventually, but the problem is I don't really know how to do it. I used to know how to do it, but it's not working for me the way that it used to. So it is in the air whether I can even pull something like that off anymore. And as you can see, your people automatically grab what they need to keep working, and they add whatever they're processing to the storage designed for that thing. So he put that building material in there, and that's cool. That's helpful. I also bought a dog. Bought a dog from a nomad that was traveling by, and there's a reason for that. They're pretty easy to feed, especially these river raptors out here. Drop this foul meat that he can eat, but you can't. So he's eating for days while we are starving. But when he grows up, he will be one of the most powerful fighters on your team. Bone dogs are no joke in this game, and if you run across a wild group of them, you're in trouble, especially if they've got some elders. Like, bone dog elders are tough, and yours will eventually turn into that. Ours is still a puppy, but they get better over time as long as you're feeding them, and also as long as you play with them. And what that means, because Kenshi is a savage game, is you have to cut someone's arm off or leg off and let the dog play with it. That's how a healthy bone dog grows. This is why we love Kenshi. So I'm going to throw that meat into this communal thing and watch everybody go rushing for it. Yeesh. We need to get some food up in here, which means money. So I'm actually just gonna trade with Bongo, and I'll go find one of the shinobi guys, and I'll sell off these stolen goods. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Okay. 100% sure there's one in Blister Hill. And then we'll have some money to buy some food. I should have brought that the first time I went, but I didn't think about it. I don't usually run myself this close to debt in this game. Usually I build my town a little smarter. This time I didn't think very hard about where I was settling, and I just came to the Holy Nation forgetting I had a Shek on my team. So the beginning of my journey here was a little rough. But once again, this has been Furioso Gaming. I am Furioso, and I hope you enjoy the content I'm pushing out. If you have a series you'd like to see, please comment and let me know. I just do Kenshi because I love it, and really I'm only going so far with it. I'm not going to take this into the into like the end game, unless y'all want it, and then I will. Um, Typically, I'll run difficult games at least until you can see sustainability, and then we'll move on. We are close to actually moving on now. As soon as this base turns into sustainability, like I'm making my own food, I'm making my own materials for everything, um, this base is going to be sustainable. So once you've done this and made all that money and started farming, you're really well on your way. All that you have to concern yourself with is how your characters are developing, how good they are at swordplay, how good they are at fighting. Furioso, I turned into a martial artist, um, and he is one of my best fighters. He needs no weapon. He just fisticuffs, you know. So that's what's fun about this game. You can, just like an RPG, you can customize your characters any way you want them, but you do have to consider sustainability for them. You have to be able to feed them. You have to be able to make sure that they are healthy, and that's what a base is really all about. Because eventually I'll build a flop house, probably pretty soon, really, because I'm starting to have a bunch of people now, where there's a bunch of beds, and that's where we go to heal. And I'll have somebody that's dedicated to like making sure everybody's um, as healthy as they can be. If you've had a big raid and everybody's hurt, then everybody just kind of goes in there. But these will all be processes that I lay out for you guys in the next episodes. But thank you so much for joining me today, Furioso Gaming. Taking requests, enjoying your guys' company. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to see played. All right, take it easy.